Now, before we start learning anything about frequency hopping, the technology that we would later know today as GPS, Wi Fi, and Bluetooth, I think it's important to understand the woman who is responsible for inventing the product and how her transformation was amazing. Hedwige Eva Maria Keisler was born on November 19th, 1914 in Vienna, and she was known at a very young age to be fascinated with the world around her and regarding of the way that everything worked. One source claimed that her father would take her along the streets of Vienna and would explain to her how the streetcars would work, how the lights worked. And it was also noted that there was one occasion where she took apart her old music box and successfully put it together part by part.
I was different, I guess. Maybe I came from a different planet, who knows? But whatever it is, inventions are easy for me to do.
My mother was very inventive. In this article, Hedy's interest in gadgets really started at the age of 5 when she took an old-fashioned music box apart and put it back together again. And this was her childhood music box. You wind up this little rabbit here and it plays an Austrian melody.
Which, at a young age, that is super fascinating. Like, I know a lot of people now would be like, oh, I just wanted to see how it worked, and it was like, oh, I broke it, no. But for it to happen successfully, that's like, whoa. Hedy Lamarr's most scandalous film in her career was the 1933 film Ecstasy, where the scene contains scenes of her swimming nude in a lake and performing what was alleged to be the first orgasm on camera. Let's just say this movie was not positively acclaimed to people, even people like Adolf Hitler and Pope. Also, Ecstasy was banned in the U.S. in order to comply with the Hays Production Code, which I will talk about that in a video coming up. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video. And also, as World War II was beginning to rage in Europe, Lemarr was, of course, of Jewish descent. She fled to America because her first husband was a munitions manufacturer associated with the Nazis. While Lemarr was in London, she caught the eye of Louis B. Mayer, the head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, as we know now as MGM. While she is under contract with MGM, Lemarr would go on to star in movies like Algiers, Samson and Delilah, who also won the Oscars, respectively. Even when she was on set or in between takes in her trailer, Lemarr would be in her trailer just sitting at her desk, just working on her many inventions. But it wouldn't be until the sinking of the British ship SS City of Benares in September of 1940, which, after being struck by a torpedo from a German U-boat, resulting in the loss of all passengers and crew members on board, that would inspire Lemarr, alongside pianist George Eiffel, to assist the U.S. military to fight the Nazis through the creation of a communication system known as frequency hopping. The U.S. Navy Institute mentions how frequency hopping primarily focused on by allowing both the private and the public use to operate with a particular frequency range, with creating issues regarding interference. Stephen Ruiz mentioned how the patent that Lemarr and Eiffel, if I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize, in August of 1942, which is known as patent number 2,229,380, 87 was said to protect their invention for radio communication to hop from one frequency to another so the Allied torpedoes can't be detected by the Nazis. While the U.S. military took her idea, they said she was better off helping the war effort by entertaining troops and being a pimp. While frequency hopping wasn't used on the battlefield during World War II, it wouldn't be until the Cuban Missile Crisis during the Cold War when frequency hopping would finally be used in U.S. Navy ships. So, yeah, while the idea was hot wasn't quite hot during World War II, it wasn't until the Cuban Missile Crisis when the idea of frequency hopping looked really cool. Even after Lemarr's death in December of 2000, as well as her assistant's death in February of 1959, the frequency hopping spectrum invention would continue to have a huge contribution in electronic media that is now used by billions today for both private use and for combat use. Even with the benefit that Bluetooth and Wi-Fi have to offer, there is always a risk of cybersecurity breaches. One exciting development that has been reported in frequency hopping would include the feature of Auracast, which according to Simon Hill, users will be allowed to join various audio streams in public spaces by scanning a QR code. So by the end of the day, the next time you listen to music on an AirPod, or if you're just getting directions to go somewhere, don't forget about this one actress that went from actress by day to inventor by night. And always, some of the best hidden figures always come in many different shapes and forms that can shift an average person from day to a figure of the future. So with that being said, that does it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any other people you would like me to do a deep dive on, please leave a comment down below. Please make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you're familiar with every video I upload, and I will see you guys next time.